Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show.
It's not about spaceships.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. If you're watching this live, you can't see that that's Rob. You can't see that I'm me or that we are we. We are all together because I just started the show. Like, I scheduled it and I just started it because I'll do whatever I want. If you want to see this part, you can just start it over. There's this.
I like it when people start their podcast apologizing for not podcasting more. That's my one. It's been really busy. Like no one's gonna remember 2 weeks from now when they actually watch this. Like,
sorry, it's just like like Star Wars has just been really getting on my tits lately. You know what I mean?
We should Tim Rogers it and be like, yeah. First we had to rewatch all of the Ewok special, then we had to watch the holiday special edition. Then I reread Neuromancer 3 times. To prepare all the Doctor Who's.
in order to get ready for this Matt Smith episode, I had to reread all of my MakingStarWars.net articles about Matt Smith, which is actually true. I actually did.
See? There you go. That's why you're late.
Which is a little bit why I'm late. Yeah. No, I couldn't remember because see what was up with Matt Smith was I heard about the Matt Smith stuff well before I ever reported it. I was told, hey, this is a thing, don't report it. I was like, okay, what's up with them? They're all, oh, he's Palpatine. I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, he's gonna be Palpatine. I was like, okay. Wow, you sure? Yeah. So then and then don't really hear a lot more about it. Now, I ended up with a few sources on the Rise of Skywalker, and both of these sources who are pertinent to this part of the story were telling me Matt's coming in like next week, and it's looking really it's looking like he's going to be doing something really wild, and I'm just like, okay, but these two sources who were talking to me about this stuff were I don't want to say too much because I don't want to be able to let things get dialed in retroactively about who they may have been or something like that. But they were like, we didn't talk every day or anything like that. So they're giving me like big hints, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I go to my more standard sources, and there's like, yeah, there's definitely stuff to it. There's definitely like a chair has been made and all that stuff. So like, I know like, oh, it's real. Like this is really happening. Well, then my timeline's a little bit fuzzy here, but essentially we end up getting to either, I think it was Celebration, not D23. And they're like, Palpatine's back. It's all Palpatine and it's Ian McDiarmid. And I'm like, okay. Then things get even further complicated by someone in the licensee side of things who was very stupid, who decided to go rogue and try to weed out their leakers. And what they do is they concoct a story that Matt Smith is playing young Palpatine and that he jumps into Kylo Ren's body and then Kylo does seppuku, kills himself. But this rogue actor going against classic Lucasfilm policy of letting us make up our fake rumors and spread them around and live and die by them and send death threats to people and call people.
B. Arthur's returning.
B. Arthur is back and she's more evil than ever. Yeah. She's fucking pouring scotch down the top of a fucking
Golden Grogu's. Yes.
Fucking Art Carney's head or whatever that guy's name is.
Golden Greedos. Sorry.
But anyways, goes and basically they spread the rumor. But what they do is they spread the same rumor to all of their internal people who then all leak the same rumor. They have no way to trace it. So when I report it, when it ends up on Reddit, they have no idea because it's all the same one, you moron, which is very funny.
Did they think Twitter just had a tracing feature or something? Like
I just don't think they were cut out for this.
Go, stupid ideas. Like
I think they were the kind of person who was meant to get a picture of Grogu and to put it on product and not think.
See, I put Grogu online ahead of time so that we could figure out who's leaking the stuff. Turns out it's the whole internet. We should shut it down.
It turns out the whole fucking thing is in on it. Yeah, but
it really is like a Big Lebowski plot. Like if they made Little Lebowski in the future, and it's just internet shenanigans. Yeah.
So when I start having friends who are watching The Rise of Skywalker and telling me what is in The Rise of Skywalker, they are like, "There's no Matt Smith," and I'm like, "Really?" Then I start thinking, what if they're pulling a big switcheroo? Right?
It's Walter's undies that's in Rise of Skywalker.
You know, what if it is an "I am your father" moment? Is what I start to wonder. And JJ's keeping it like out of the main edit of the thing. People at Disney watching it, people at Lucasfilm watching it, Kevin Smith comes in smoking pot, watching it, and he's like, "Oh, well, that was good," but he's not seeing the.
Like, I heard a Smith's in it. I get to watch it.
Yeah, because all the Smiths,
that's the law.
They're all the same. They're all the same. I don't trust them. But anyways, they shill. But if you see the list, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Just throw that into random conversation now.
Total shill. But anyways, yeah. So, but you know, as time goes on, as we get closer to the release, and more people I know are seeing that edit, it's not there. I'm like, you know what? He's not in it, and it was like a really weird, confusing thing. So finally, after all this time, we have this on what is it, the Happy Sad Confused podcast? I think you can see the little watermark on there. I left it in there to make sure you guys can see it. I edited the video up just to get to the point. So here it is.
No, I didn't. There was we were close to me being in it, but then it just never quite happened. I think the thing they were thinking of me for, eventually the part became, it became obsolete and they didn't need it. And so I never got to be in Star Wars. Pretty groovy thing. It was a really groovy part and concept. It was pretty big. It was a big thing. It was like a big story detail, like a transformative Star Wars story detail. But yeah, I mean, it was like it was a big shift in the history of the franchise. There we are.
Did you ever get into like costume? Was there a costume test? Like how far away did you get?
There was no costume. There were a couple of meetings.
So he says there was no costume, was a couple of meetings. And I got to be honest with you. I am fairly certain that Matt Smith was on the set of the movie. And so I don't know if the meetings were if the meetings were on set. Like, I don't know, like, how all of that played out. But
he was going to be inside BB-8. That was the transformative. You find out that he's just in the running, or it's just his head, like John B. You make a wish when you open up BB-8. Yeah. And they just wished the First Order away. That was the ending to the movie.
I had photos during the production of Rey's parents. I still have some of them, actually, and of them when that was filmed. And when I remember getting those photos, and around the time all this stuff was going on, I don't think he was Palpatine's son. I can't say for certain, obviously, because this is all really been a confusing situation. But also,
you're
I would
confused.
like to
I saw the movie.
Yeah, a lot of the podcasters who put me through the ringer over the years could suck my dick. I want to throw that out there too. A lot of them were very condescending and eye rolling because they get things right. Mm-hmm.
My sock puppet accounts, they accept it.
Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah.
But no, it is nice after all this time though to have like some validation that wasn't, because I started to wonder after a time, like, what was up with Matt Smith. I knew about the ruse, and I started to go like, maybe the whole thing was a ruse the whole entire time. I don't know, but I wasn't the first one to report it. I had heard it, I knew of it, I had dropped hints about it on the podcast, and then I think it ended up in Variety. And
let's just think logically here, Jason. Let's say,
yeah.
not you, but let's say you people out there are reporting on Star Wars rumors,
people?
right?
What do you mean by
Yeah.
you people?
Yeah. That damn it, man. There's nothing I can do right. So they let's say their job is to report on Star Wars rumors, and along comes episode 9. Now, half the fucking art in the official episode 9 book is from episode 8, right?
Yeah.
Like because there was a whole nother movie made with a bunch of concept art they don't want to put in that fucking book. Like, so which movie are you reporting on? Like, are you reporting on Duel of the Fates, but you don't know, right? Are you reporting on Duel of Fates round 2, 4, the Rise of Skywalker pitch, right? Because he had to have a pitch.
The Jack
Right.
Thorne movie? Yeah.
All the weird, it had to be like a 6-month, like 3-month maybe even, like pre-production redesign for JJ, just a giant shift in all of that stuff and new whatever. I mean, I can't imagine what it felt like.
On this one, this was they were already at Pinewood. JJ was shooting stuff when this was going down. So he was coming up. That's how I don't know if bad is the right word, but that's how in the mix writing and production still were at the same time. And that's why, like we were talking about just a couple of days ago, Luke and Leia on indoor training, that was it was still indoor, right? I can't remember if at the end of the day it was indoor in the end. I think it is indoor though. That was the opening
more
of the
like
movie.
Indoor than the one in the movie. That's for certain.
Yeah. But that was indoor, or that was the opening of the movie, like weeks before release. That was still the opening. Like, that's how many changes were going through on this movie. Like, if it was old Lucasfilm, they'd be like, yeah, George was changing the opening up until the day before. We can do anything now.
Well, that's literally the Attack of the Clones, the whole opening in the Photo Archives book, because they get into whole, I mean, not Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, that it was the Clone War battle, like jumping between planets in the opening part of the film. And was it John Knowles? And they're like, man, I really wished he hadn't cut that. They're pretty honest in that book, you know? Like, now they just go, no, it never happened.
Yes, men.
Whispers.
They were all yes men.
Yeah. They were shills. Now they got all these non-shills running Lucasfilm. They don't fucking... or they shill. I guess they're shilling. They're all
my 401k is intrinsically attached to this franchise. I guess I am a shill, says John Knoll. No, it's kind of funny though. It's kind of funny because we end up with the exact opposite reality, and the internet thinking the other side of it. But here we are. So anyways, Matt Smith, I think was going to become young Palpatine. I think that part was probably true, because here's the whole thing is I knew that there were temp things in the end sequence of the film that were there, which is what made me go like, what's going on? Because, you know, when Palpatine, when he gets the dyad together, there was a ton more on the dyad in the movie of explaining it, of the significance, and about why things were going the way they are. They even did things in the movie that, like, you won't really get, that just doesn't really pay off. Like when Rey and Ben Solo are fighting, they're doing the same exact moves. It's the same fight. They are doing the same motions. They are one at that point. And but Palpatine, when he wanted his original plan was, I'm going to get them together and I'm going to suck the power out of both of them, because when I suck all of the power out of the dark and the light together at the same time, that's gonna be my rebirth. I think he was going to go and do that, and he was going to become Palpatine age 35, whatever Matt Smith is, and he was going to be like him back.
Well, you can see this idea in the original Duel of Fates script with that vampire, right? The
Yeah.
evil Sith Lord that was draining life out of creatures to become young again or to keep his age, right? Like that was basically how they solved the whole how do you stay young forever? You're a vampire, you know.
Vampire. Yeah.
What we do in the Sith shadows, right? Like
Yeah. And
yeah.
so he goes, and then he was going to do that, and then he was going to come back. Now, ultimately, in my opinion, the other side of it too was that there was this idea floating around at the time that all of the Siths all of the previous Sith, that all of the voices that Hylo's hearing in his head, they are all sort of being consumed by this ancient Sith king. And Palpatine was going to be the rebirth of the Sith King, and then he would come, and the Sith Kingdom would rise, kind of concept. Sort of like
was his name.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
kind of like Satan or something coming back. The Antichrist.
He's like a genie trapped in a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Says Saberon.
What does this do?
Yeah, his face pops out. What's up?
Shazam! Yeah. It's what's his name from Jingle All the Way. Anyways, Kazam. Sinbad. Yeah. Sorry, he's the great classic comedian Sinbad. Yeah. So, anyways, I think they were going to do that.
Shaquille O'Neal.
But and then this is complete all conjecture. Obviously, I think they realized, it ends up amounting to about 15 seconds. He shows up. He's like, I am reborn. Ha ha ha. Rey, look at my lightning. And then he goes at her, and then she reflects it back. He explodes. Why take Ian McDiarmid, the Palpatine we've all known for all 9 movies? Why throw him out now for a younger, hotter, more attractive Matt Smith? And then
give yourself a villain for the next 3 films. I don't know.
Well, no, he blows up. He explodes.
See, that's the problem. He should have got away, and we know that because it's not the movie isn't really a completionist film anyway. You don't go, well, that's it. No more Star Wars. It's not.
After episode 9, I felt so complete,
Yeah.
I felt like this journey I set on as a 3-year-old, Return of the Jedi. It's done now.
Yeah, I'm done. It's over.
Like, when Return of the Jedi came out, I felt like it was done, but it just didn't feel complete. Now, feel good.
No.
Feel done.
No.
And I think that idea of putting him in there to continue more stuff on with him would have been a good idea. I think he would be excellent in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Also,
if Ian McDiarmid had been a zombie in Episode 7. And they had revitalized him, and he got away, and he was a young fucking Matt Smith for the next 2 movies,
I had a wild night one night at Comic-Con in 2011, I want to say. I'm with that dude who created Earthworm Jim.
Oh no.
That guy is with us. And Doug, I think he's like an all right guy or something now, but he was pretty nice. He was nice. He was nice. I mean, for what it's worth.
Yeah, I heard Hitler was charming.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
that's what they keep telling me before he murdered 40 million fucking people. But sure, all right.
And the guy who voices the Brain, I think, from Pinky and the Brain,
Orson Welles. Yes.
Or no, what's his name?
I know, but that's who I tell myself.
Yeah, what's his name? Well, anyways, that guy's there, and this is the story where I had just come back from Red Rock seeing Soundgarden, and I had all of these things called Chiba Chews that were like Tootsie Rolls with the pot inside, and I'm paying Comic-Con drink prices, and I'm like, why am I paying Comic-Con drink prices when I have all these Tootsie Rolls in there? And I eat one, it doesn't really do anything. I don't feel anything, but I'm hungry. And I'm spending a lot of money at Comic-Con. And I'm like, I want to have a snack. So I have another one. And boy, was I on a different planet. But during that different planet, I'm there. And I do get thirsty. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go get another drink. And so I'm out of my fucking mind at this outside bar. Right back where I started. Because now I'm stoned. So now I'm hungrier than I was before. And so I go and I order a beer, and I order like a little appetizer, and then here comes Matt Smith with two Italian models, one on each arm, and I'm at this time he's just the weird looking new Doctor Who.
Hold on. You're stoned, so you're certain it wasn't Giovanni Ribisi. Like,
No,
because if I'm stoned and I look at Matt Smith, I could see it morphing into Giovanni Ribisi.
No.
Was he really nervous? Like, was he shaky?
He was fucking. No, he was cool as fuck. He was like,
he said groovy. And did you think it was from Jim?
I'm pretty.
What?
Yeah.
See how I looped it all together?
Yeah. Brought it all together. Let's call it the callback in comedy. I think the comedy class.
See how I pointed out the joke? Shouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh no. I mean, most of these people here are cool, but most Star Wars fans, you have to explain all sarcasm, or your.
That's what the filmmakers and Free Guy thought when they had to, after showing the lightsaber and playing the music, then had to say it's a lightsaber. I was like, really? Are we that dumb? Like,
yeah, actually,
we are.
A large portion of the, I mean, but I'm not here to judge because I had a late night flight last night that was killer. I was in Dallas, and I thought JFK Jr. was coming back. He didn't come back. I think he might be dead.
What if Matt Smith just rolled down like the street in a car waving? Right? It was Matt Smith.
then
Young JFK.
my brain.
No. Oh, like what if he set up a squib and then reenacted it, and then that's how he killed his career? Like, wow, one shot.
I wish I lived there because, oh god, that would be so fun. Just like get in one of those cars and drive down there pretending to be him for a second, like a big fucking hair.
So Dallas PD hit you up.
No, they would start worshiping me. They would fucking be like, he has risen. JFK Jr. is back.
Does he come back with the plane? Like, I just want to know. Like, does the plane come back too?
I think so. I think
he should have landed a plane.
I think he has the wings like built into his back now, like a fucking transformer. He's like, I am JFK Carls Jr. But anyway,
maybe that's the reboot for Flight of the Navigator. Turns out that Max, the robot navigator, took JFK Jr. and they've been having adventures for the last 30 years.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, let's see. We have some fun comments here. All right, Jordan says Matt Smith found it hilarious. How most people thought he was 100% in the film and were like, where was he afterwards? Yeah, well, really, like, it made a lot of sense, honestly. Matt Smith,
I think because of all the secrecy and like what have yous with that, people were hoping for something that they weren't being led to think, and the movie was fairly what you thought it was going to be if you'd seen the trailer. There was nothing else to it.
That was my whole headache at the time. Was it was pretty funny. I didn't overtly report Ray with the lightning. Because I was just like, I didn't want to hear it. I just didn't want to, at the time. I was like, I was oscillating between not giving any fucks at all and being like, I just don't want to deal with this fucking adult infancy of fandom, and but I had reported about Ben Solo's death, about how he dies, and then I had like I said, adult infants is all that I could really compare it to, and it was like there has to be more to it. And I'm like, I hope there's more to it, and then they're like, we fucking hate you. Because you're telling us that this guy with these nipples I want to suckle upon, with this wiener, with these balls I want to caress, I want to play handball on that chest. I want to just do it, And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I'm glad that your vagina is secreting the correct fluids that you need to prove that you are sexually attracted to somebody, but I cannot really fix the story that has been created by a bad robot, It's not in within my power.
By a bad robot and
I
a
am-
bad robot.
I am simply the messenger. And then I mean, but truly, I mean, it's like going to a New Kids on the Block fucking concert in 1987 and saying little Joey has been shot. It was like they were fucking, like I said, a bunch of adult babies. And people act like, oh, well, a lot of them were like 15, 16 years old. And it's like, yeah, 15 or 16 years old, grow the fuck up. If you're 15 or 16, you can take the fact that a fictional character is going to die.
Hey, I was 15 around the time, or a little bit younger, when Street Fighter the movie came out. And I'm going to say, as a big Street Fighter fan, I wasn't happy with any of the marketing, design, toys, any of it.
Yeah, well, you know what?
But
I was 14 when Kurt Cobain committed suicide twice. Sorry, I'm kidding. But
twice.
Well, no,
do you think he's coming back for the Foo Fighters 20th anniversary? That would see, you can see how these conspiracy
he's coming back to kill the Foo Fighters.
Hey man, they're a fun band. Stop.
They are.
It could be worse.
It's just every now and then I'm like, hey, you were in Nirvana, dude. You were in remember? You were in Nirvana.
Could be worse, man. He could be trying to be Nirvana.
You
see what I'm saying?
One of my best friends always sends me the clips of when Dave Grohl and his daughter are singing X covers, and I'm just like, no, I'm sorry, she could be a sweet girl, but there's nothing cool about an aged rock star singing punk covers with a trust fund baby. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I raise nobody.
You live the grunge code, the ethos.
It's a punk code. Right? It's a punk ethos. I stand by it. But yeah, no, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, come on. But that's why I liked Ray being a nobody. This all comes back to Star Wars in a roundabout way. But also
very roundabout
way.
Like hey,
we do it. No, but I mean, it does sort of drive me crazy that it's like, it's okay to act like an adult infant because it's something you love a lot. It's
sure.
Like, so what? So fucking what? But that's how I ended up getting tons of DMs from Raylos going, is it true? Yes, it's true. Fuck you. Is it true?
But they get attention. It's just attention. They say the shit because they think that's how they have to get attention.
Yeah.
And they were probably made all that uncomfortable humor back in high school, and people just would look and be like, and they never got that. They didn't think it was funny, but they made them chuckle.
Yeah.
Like, like if someone in that stupid chat room. So, yeah. They're I don't know, man, dude. Like, I just think it's weird. I was thinking about the production of that film, and had they given it to Ryan, and maybe Ryan's like, I need another year, and they're like, okay. Well, they said okay, and then the pandemic hits. Are we still waiting on Rise of Sky? Like, are we still waiting on episode 9, or would they have released it to Disney Plus? Like, that would have been. So it's like, see, here's the problem. I don't think they learn much from it, because they're looking back at those numbers now going, man, we made out big compared to what we're making now. Right?
Yeah.
We were right to get it out when we did. But I'm hoping critically they look at that whole process and learn from it. But they tend to only learn from the numbers, man.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it all ends up. It all ends up coming down to. It all ends up coming down to like how was this taken? What did we learn from it? And that they're gonna go, and when they do something in the future, like killing Ben or not, whatever, they're gonna go like, okay, what headache did that end up creating for us? And was it worth it? I ultimately think it all ends up probably becoming worth it, because they probably end up I think they'll just create a story about resurrecting Ben Solo, because it was so not satisfying to anybody, I don't think. And I think that they'll do it, and then there'll be some side ramification in doing it. They bring back Matt Smith as Palpatine or something like that. You know what I mean? Like there'll have to be some ramification to it. And they did set up with the prophecy under George Lucas that Anakin is a direct product of Darth Sidious trying to pull that shroud of darkness over the galaxy to make the Jedi not be able to see. That stuff is pretty much, I pretty sure is in the foundations of the canon right now. So point being, if they do bring back Ben, if they do find a way, if they should go that route, then there's ramifications for it. I think that spurned more stories, so it could be worth it.
I wish they'd stay away from it.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, it's it's that Dune-ish stuff, man, that I just don't like. It's the stuff that I'm like, I get where he was pulling that from, what he's trying to invoke, and I just don't care about that part of Dune, and I don't care about that part of Star Wars. I don't think it helps anything. It's just when it's all about prophecies and machinations, it's not about people making decisions and doing right or wrong. It feels like it's like when they make a movie all about cosmology, you know, and you're like, you don't feel like you have an active role in this. There's just these larger forces at play. I'm not impressed by the larger forces. You know, I like,
they
like the street level forces.
I could see them doing that. I could see them doing what you're talking about and still making it work. Like if Rey finds a way to do it, for instance, then she ends up on the same kind of path as Anakin. It's wanting immortality, but it's like, but should you? And then if she does it in a moment of weakness, goes forward with it, or because of her own wants as opposed to what's right, then you know, it could end up having thematic consequences. I mean, but then you also run into the risk now of people going, Rey was perfect and now she's not. But all of these people have to become failures. Star Wars is always one of the things that about the sequel trilogy that makes me mad every single time I hear anything about Luke, Leia, and Han, is that Lucas was always very adamant that Star Wars and its very inception is about the next generation fixing the rights of the past, of the sins of the father, if you will. And you can't really move on to the next generation if they don't have their own mess ups. And maybe that will be how Rey does it, and how we get into the next generation, you know, of people that are gonna lead to the next story or something. I don't think they'll wait until she's 65 though. Obviously, I think they'll do it by the time she's.
Yeah, but they have to have sins, and they don't really have sins. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Rey and Poe and Finn haven't done anything. Like that movie ends with them starting. Like they didn't. That's what they need to now. We have to spend time with them, not start a movie where they're 50 years old and go, and a bunch of shit happened like that. We've already done that. You know, it doesn't work. It was not a good idea in the prequels for Lucas to not put the Clone Wars in the fucking movies. It's just
bring her over, dude. Let's get the Ouija board out. Let's smoke some weed. Get the Ouija board out. Let's start Adam Driver. Are you here, Adam Driver? Oh, I mean Ben Solo. Are you here, Ben Solo? Ben Solo. And then like the little thing will move. I'll probably push it, and it'll be like YOUSHOULDMAKEOUTWITHJA.
Mario Van Peebles shows up. Oh, wrong Solo.
No, it says you should make out with Jason, and I look at Daisy Ridley, and she just slaps me with a fist. Slaps me with her fist.
Slaps you right into Adam Driver's ghost face.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I'm like, yeah, I had to do a try. So then I'm off the Ouija board now. Now it's just Daisy Ridley, and herself. She's not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to use a Ouija board by yourself. And
good. Hey, isn't it great that Milton Bradley made a pact with the afterlife so that we can all like conjure with Kennedy Jr. and Ben Solo? Isn't it great?
Yeah. Well, dude, did you hear about what fucking Wayne did, man? You see what Wayne did? Fucking Wayne, dude.
I don't even. That whole thing is ridiculously
there was this lady named Anjali, and she had security clearance, and she had worked on projects before for the government and stuff. So she started claiming that there was an alien UFO base in the Mojave Desert. I want to say it was. And but everyone's like, this sounds like bullshit, which it did. And then they started asking like main UFO people, hey, is there a UFO base? And they're like, I don't know anything about no UFO base in Mojave Desert. That'd be news to me.
It's in the basement of the Mojave Desert.
But she starts saying like, the aliens are telling me we're gonna take you guys. And so she's inviting like George Knapp. And so I'm following. I'm like, this is hilarious. Because either little aliens are gonna come out at the end or it's just funny the whole time. So I'm like, okay. So so then last night, I'm like, and Jolly tweets, well, Wayne doesn't want people on his property. Can you imagine? There's an alien base in the Mojave Desert, but Wayne is just like, no, not gonna. It's Wayne's world. No.
I know you sent me that, and I'm like, these are the ramblings of future senators. You know, it's sad to say. You know? Yeah.
But I had to have the aliens not come back and no JFK Jr. in the same night. So give me a break today. It was a hard day like yesterday. You know, a lot of letdowns, a lot of prophecies that were foretold that did not come true.
A lot of what have yous, a lot of ins and outs.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So anyways, the Matt Smith thing. I'm glad that there is at least like closure to that aspect of it. He says he never even got into a costume, and and honestly, I don't know if he even really probably needed to actually go that far, because if he was Palpatine, he was going to be wearing the same clothes, even though Palpatine's clothes changed, which that annoyed the hell out of me. Like when I was like reporting that, I'm like, so wait, so he siphons the power from them, and then now he has a fancy new like
unstable molecules. Let me tell you, that's the answer to everything.
And they're just like, yeah, I don't know, man. And I'm like,
well, it's the wills. And the wills, they change your pants, purple pants, into shorts, and that's why the Hulk doesn't have a giant dick just running around San Francisco. Wait, what? So, yeah,
it is what it is. Hold on, I'm trying to share this tab. It's not letting me share the tab. There it goes. All right. So just to hit on something that we talked about a little bit yesterday was this bitch. Remember this bitch?
Oh yeah.
So that is the Funko Pop, and you can see that there's like costume changes going on here.
They had to put a giant logo on it as if we don't fucking know. Like,
yeah, I guess.
Does it have to be in white? You could blacken out the logo. You know, it's ridiculous.
Make it gold, black and gold. That's what's going on with Star Wars this year. But yeah, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, it's like it's just like a big so what kind of thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one thing when I was watching the trailer again. My son wanted to watch the Boba trailer, so we put it on. We're watching it, and we're talking about whether that voice is the Mandalorian talking to Boba Fett, if it's Din Djarin or not. And a couple of things that I noticed though is that the Hammerhead, who is talking to Boba, he does have the voice translator things on the side of his face. So it does sound like him, and it does sound like it has that modulated sound. It could be because it's that. So it could be the Hammerhead still, just for what it's worth. It sounds like Pedro Pascal to me, but it could be. It could still be the Hammerhead. And then me and my son were talking about how there's rumors that Grogu and Din Djarin are in it, and then we were talking about how Boba looks like he is healed. He looks better.
Well, to bring that up, last week on Kevin Smith's Batman show at Mark Bernardin, Mark dropped that he's filming his short film, and he had offered one of the lead adult role to Rosario Dawson, and she said, "Oh, I can't do it because I'm making Star Wars," and that's like in December. And then Kevin got all weirded out. I don't think we should mention that. And everyone's like, "Oh, but they know that they're making the Rebel show." But then you were like, after the show, you were like, "She's probably a Mando 3." Like,
Yeah.
Good chance, right? Like,
Yeah. That was
because I forgot that's when they're shooting Mando 3, right? So if she's in Mando 3, that would explain why she's shooting Star Wars. She didn't say her show,
yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
But well, where I was going with it is two things. What if Grogu heals Boba? Because if Grogu is in it, if that rumor is true, which I don't know if it is, but if that rumor is true,
Could give him hair.
Grogu, he fucking heals him and his hair grows out like a little fro. He's like, whoa, like a chia
Bald
pet.
American dudes, right? That's the coalition for bald guys and married with children. Bad.
But then my son pointed out that in Boba Fett's bedroom, when the pit droid is giving him the helmet, there's like a Michael Jackson style hyperbolic chamber in there. And so that chamber, I was like looking at it, I'm like, okay, it could be two things. That could be like a tanning bed, so it looks super sweet on Tatooine, looks fucking great, and people want to date him. Or it could be that that is a chamber to protect him so he can't be killed in his sleep because he's fucking Boba Fett. People want to kill him. Or it could be a rejuvenation chamber that's like kind of like repairing all of the damage from the Sarlacc. And when he sleeps in there at night, it does its thing. Or it could just be a fucking Star Wars microwave, and that's where he puts his taquitos. I don't know.
What if he just like dips it, like he's bobbing for apples, but it was a Bacta tank and he got healed? He didn't know.
Yeah, it's like,
it was Tatooine Halloween, right?
Well, I mean, remember what a pussy hound that guy was in Return of the Jedi Special Edition? You know?
Yeah, he was. He
So
gave her the.
Maybe he goes to the strip club and one of those implants pops and it was full of Bacta and it's all over him. He's like, "What? I look new. I don't look scary now. I wanted to look fucked up to scare people." He's all, "Get your tits fixed." And then he.
Oh, speaking of boobs and science fiction movies, I was watching Married with Children, circa '88, and there's I gotta dig up the thing, but he makes a joke about Martians, right? Which I want to grab for the UFO show. But he mentions, what if she had like 3 Hooters or something?
Yeah.
And I'm like, was the 3 Hooters in the Total Recall book, or is that specific to the movie? Because I want to know which came first. The 3 Hooters in Total Recall, the movie, or Al Bundy mentioned it in Married with Children a year before?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
I mean, it could also be one of those. It could also be one of those things where they had filmed it, and everyone in Hollywood was talking about it and showing pictures of it and laughing about it, and then the writers threw it in Married with Children because they knew that was going to be a thing. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, but
I'm curious. It's awfully coincidental how close that is. But.
Yeah, for sure. And
anyway,
then, Illuma Nerdy. We'll go on to the Acolyte stuff. They wrote a big article, and I honestly I'm not going to use all of it because when you write an article, if you want it to get indexed in the Google, it has to be 300 words, and so you end up with these kind of articles. Not their fault; they have to. You have to put a bunch of fat into it because Google's rules. But with so many details out there about the Acolyte, at the Illuma Nerdy, we have been tirelessly looking for new information. Blah blah blah. We at the Illuma Nerdy can exclusively reveal the working title for the Acolyte and what seems to be the main character's name. According to our sources, the working title for the Acolyte is Paradox. And once again, I'm pretty sure this is from the casting calls because I saw a casting call and it was called Paradox for Disney. And so that makes sense. Paradox opens a lot of interesting possibilities into what it could be referenced to. Now, we run into the age-old thing. Do we give a shit? And this isn't a slide on them. They are reporting a fact. So I appreciate that. But ultimately, in the deeper level, do we give a shit? Because I can tell you there have been times when they do matter. Like for instance, Rogue One, I had heard that it was about an Oppenheimer type character who, guy created the bomb and oops, made the Death Star and his daughter. And then as time goes on, we learn that it's called Los Alamos. Okay, there we go. Like we see actually a weird confirmation of a story beat. Episode 7, you have Foodles. And I know Foodles is in reference. People think it's the Disney Foodles, but it's actually a restaurant in Marin County. I eat there, or I have eaten there. It's good.
The fact that isn't an actual character name
Foodles?
is hilarious. If Foodles sounds like something Lucas would put into a Star Wars band or something.
Disney owns the copyright on it because they sell like a Mickey Mouse shaped thing with like little apples and cheese in it. It's like their version. It's like their version of Lunchables, kind of.
Yeah, it turns out Foodles was key to the instrumentation of all the rebellion. Yeah.
But those
you didn't know that was Foodles. Yeah.
but yeah, he does. It's reference to that, and the other one is in reference to where JJ saw Return of the Jedi in '83 and stuff like that. So it's like sometimes they really are important, and sometimes they barely are. Like for instance, at one time during the first iteration of Cassian, it was called Whitesnake, like the band. I don't know, man. And I'm just throwing it out there. It could have been that during the early thing, the person who was in charge at that time was like, I remember watching James Bond listening to Whitesnake, and that's why they call it like.
Our code name for Vader was Steel Panther. Yeah, it's
Steel
true.
Panther.
Yeah, Steel Panther.
So dope. So, all right.
I know what you mean. Like it doesn't. It's an interesting tidbit. It's cool. It's something to put up. They didn't make it up, so that's great.
Yeah. And
so I'll take real info of some kind, but
this is where I think we get into closer to something being potentially more important. Although it has already been reported that Lucasfilm was looking to cast a woman of color in her late teens to early 20s to play the lead role, we've managed to uncover what seems to be the character's name. From what we've learned, the lead in the Acolyte will be named Ara, like Ara Singh. It is possible that this is a code name meant to obscure the actual identity of the character. However, given that this is a Star Wars canon that is unexplored, there wouldn't be too many well-known established characters that this could be. So it seems more likely that this could be the character's actual name.
I would hope they wouldn't take a woman of color and make her white. That would be the sincere hope that they would not be stupid enough to do that. They won't.
I think it's just like Ara's in the big picture. Ara Singh ain't shit. So if they wanted to use that name again, they easily could. You know what I mean? It doesn't step on too many toes. I mean, Kylo Ren and Kylo Ren.
Yeah, her real name is Foodles, actually. Yeah.
Her name was Oodles of Foodles.
Yeah, we have oodles of Foodles, and she can clone herself, and then she makes oodles of herself. It's oodles F Foodles. Yeah.
But if my assumption is correct and it's from a casting call, I'm going to throw it out there that it may not be. It may not actually. It may be just the code name. They know that those are going to get out. They know that those are going to be seen by everybody, and even internally, oftentimes when they pass things over to licensees and stuff like that, the codes remain. And so I it could be right. It could be. I mean, it could be.
I mean, Ragtag wasn't going to be called Star Wars Ragtag.
No, it wasn't. It was going to be called the Wild Bunch.
On Crash, we had code names for Crash. Because you invoice as a production artist or whatever on any gig, you invoice and you have to invoice the project, and they can't send the names of actual projects to accounting because accounting will be like, hey, create some words, guess what they're working on,
Can we start a rumor that if they're making a Crash Bandicoot movie, but it's based
I don't want to be on that. I don't want to be on that rumor.
It's based on the movie Crash.
You can't. Don't get me in trouble with Activision, man. Don't make rumors about things I'm contractually signed to please. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna try, but
that wife movie will kill me. Anyway.
It's all Rick Jones says Rosario Dawson is a blabbermouth and I'm here for it. Yeah.
To be fair, that was Mark Bernard and blabbermouthing. That was when Kevin was like, no.
Well, I'm of the opinion that like when Rosario Dawson goes and says, Sky Guy, they know.
Yeah.
Most of the time I shouldn't say most of the time, but many times when you see something showing up in the Hollywood Reporter, it's completely given by PR. It's Lucasfilm PR reaches out and says, "Hey, so and so at Hollywood Reporter or Variety, just so you know, we've cast our Kylo," or it goes the other way. It goes the other way. Hollywood Reporter calls up Lucasfilm or sends an email. Listen, we've heard that Adam Driver is cast in Episode 7 as the main lead, bad guy. Can you comment? We can't comment right now. Give us a couple of days or whatever. And then they're like, oh, they could run it, but if they run it, they're gonna now make Disney mad. And if they wait, so then what happens is they don't run it. Lucasfilm signs him. It's now signed. They then contact him back and go, we've signed. You can move forward with your story. And then they move forward. And they may say, don't say he's playing Darth Vader's son. Can you not say that or whatever happened? Darth Vader's grandson. And then they go, okay. And then now they're playing ball together. Everybody's sucking each other's balls. Everybody's having a good time, and everybody's getting paid. And so like that's how that happens. So anyways, when Rosario Dawson, it's not like it was her first movie ever. It's not like it's her first time on a Lucasfilm project ever. And so when they go and she says Sky Guy, they know. I feel like it was orchestrated, personally.
I like how Hayden's like, I'm not playing this game.
He's all I'm not tweeting. I'm not gonna tweet you back. I'm Darth Vader. I don't have to.
Yeah, I don't care.
He's like, you know what? He's like, no, I heard he was very hurt when he wasn't offered to be the voice of Anakin in the Clone Wars movie. And I understood their perspective that he wasn't going to be the voice of Anakin in the series. And so they wanted the voice of Anakin in the series to be the voice that you hear. But they let Samuel L. Jackson and Christopher Lee come back and do their roles because they're supporting roles. So it wasn't as big of a deal. But
yeah,
so
people didn't like him. I get it sucks. Yeah. I have been on projects that went south, and then you get blamed. It's because of you. I've had that experience. It hurts when you're like, I put in all my work. I did exactly. Everyone was pleased, but they didn't like me. I'm the problem. I wasn't the problem. But that's just something you gotta let go, man. That's where you like do some summer stock. You know what I mean? Go do some theater or something. Like go get something else to preoccupy your world. You know, because
he did. He
in Star Wars they come back to you. They always do, dude. Like
yeah,
they always even at that time. Look, man, Samuel Jackson wasn't doing a lot of great shit in those fucking movies, you know, like especially compared to what he was doing at the time in other films.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like they'll come back to you, man. Don't worry. And then they did. So
oh sure.
Now,
I mean, I get it though. Like especially in the moment. I mean, it's
sure.
like Anthony Daniels. The guy's always been C-3PO. You know what I mean? For the most part. I mean, hasn't done every time, but whenever he can, he's done it. Whenever they could make it happen, he's been.
But everyone loved 3PO. No one was like 3PO ruined the whole saga.
3PO. When you read like early stuff about it, people were like pretty hard on 3PO. They don't like gay robots. They didn't like gay robots back then. They were pretty mean to him. But
I mean, it's not like he got to be the marionette.
Yeah. No, it wasn't like they George Lucas tried to like, you know, make Ahmed Best feel better about the Jar Jar situation by saying that to him. But in reality, the Jar Jar situation and the Hayden situation was way more harsh than anything C-3PO ever had to deal with, because people did ultimately really love C-3PO because they liked the robots. Most people thought it was funny. Most kids, all the kids loved 3PO and R2. Like he just looked cool. Like 3PO looks cool. Like you kind of forget that, I think, as an adult today. You're like so used to seeing him for like 40 years of your life now or whatever. You're just like, but I mean 3PO fucking looks cool. You know.
And again, another thing I thought, rather than trying to invent a goofy, childish CGI character for the Phantom Menace, should have just made the Inside Out 3PO CGI. You know, because that practical thing they did with the shaky, like that.
I like it. I love that thing. I think
I like the look of them. I can't stand that. I really can't.
Yeah, it's just like, oh.
Like
I also
him, Yoda.
I love that the shot where you see Anakin from through C-3PO's eyes when they finally lives up to that whole thing of Lucas was always saying you're going to see the whole saga through 3PO's and R2's eyes, like they're witnesses of the whole thing, which he totally does not follow through on. But
No.
but that shot being in there was really nice. I liked it, and I like Jake Lloyd's performance when he's like, "All right, I told my mom not to sell you. Bye." It's like fucking takes off. It's like
that is funny.
it is well done that whole moment. But yeah. Anyways, I feel like that shit was orchestrated, and Hayden Christensen is wise not to. I don't even does he even have a Twitter account at this point? I don't know if he does, but he'd be wise not to. You know,
Even if everyone loves him, he'd be wise to just
everyone would be
let
wise.
people like bask. You don't see. I don't think Pablo goes out there. Pedro Pascal goes out there and starts interacting with the fans too much, right? Like, does he?
No, I mean, and not to be that guy, but anytime I ever see anything that he does, it's just like virtue signaling stuff. To be honest with you,
Really? Never
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, when you're in something that big, like, I get being nice to fans, but you got to protect yourself. You really have to, because one wrong fucking thing, you know, you really need that layer of like, I'll if you want to talk, you got to say it to someone, your PR person, who's got to like check it with the team, and then they post it, you know, because like one wrong typo, like one anything, you know, like if he was like, I love kitten houses, and he replaces the K with an R, then the whole internet hates him, right? Like, you're like, it was an honest mistake, and then, you know, you don't want that trouble.
So Bobby Perez says, "Aren't those rejuvenation tanks made by the spider monks?" So I don't know. Do the
Yeah, they are.
monks
Yeah,
make rejuvenation?
that was in the Tales of Jabba's Palace, if I remember. I don't know why I fucking remember that.
Are you serious? It really is.
Yeah, I'm being serious. I remember there was a whole thing with those spiders and the monks and the Tales of Jabba's. Bro, I haven't read it since August of 1998, but I remember that being one of the more interesting things. You know.
Okay, so then yeah, I think I'm having some neurons fire,
which would explain why they showed the spider. You know, in the first shot,
they're like brains in jars. They're the Bomor monks are like monks who give up all of their physical self, and so they just become a brain in a jar, and then they end up using the spiders as their way of like moving around in existence.
Yeah,
and they should just astral project if they're really that good at being monks. Just throwing it out there, but they're
like the Jedi got a lock on that, man. They trademarked it. We can't do it. But, Jedi lawyers show up and prevent us from astral projecting.
Yeah,
and Frank Herbert Dune would sue us, you know.
But that would make sense, Bobby. I mean, I think you bring up a good point. You know, if it's like he's like, "Hey, you freaky monk fuckers, let me borrow that. I want to take a bath." That's
pretty good.
With you.
That's a pretty good impersonation.
Yeah, he gets in there. He's like. He's like, all right. He's like, I'm naked here.
Hold on. That is how they should have ended that trailer. He should have been like, fire, and just lit them all up. Like I would have been like, oh, that's great. Like fire.
I want it to be completely weird. I want him in the bath, and he's like in the bath with their brains, and he looks at him and he's all, I'm gonna rule by respect. And then he goes, "What did you say?" And he just bites the brain. And that's the end. You're like, "Whoa!"
Just want him in a bath with brains, and they're all talking. Like, "What's up? Hey, what's up?"
Or him to do the fucking molar ram. He takes the brain and he like has in his hand. He's like, he's squeezing it.
Turns out there's community showers in Jabba's palace. So, yeah.
No, Boba Fett. I mean, he looks like the kind of guy whose balls he'd see at the YMCA. For sure. You don't want to, but he'd be there with the towel open.
I don't even wear sandals, you know.
I don't care. I'll get warts on my feet. I'll just get immunities to them.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good theory, Bobby. I like it.
I like it too, Bobby. Can you fly, Bobby? Sorry, I had to.
I was thinking Ernest. Know what I mean, Bobby?
Oh,
Bobby
it was
with the
Vern.
gun.
It was Vern. Was it a Vern?
Well, Bobby was the one with the gun.
Oh,
right.
okay.
It was the two idiots that were following him around.
Yeah. Fucking Ernest P. Willer. Was it Willer or Weller?
Worrell. It's
Worrell. Ernest P. Worrell.
That is the name, unfortunately. I do remember.
Yeah.
Nothing
Well,
useful.
I would tell you that was the first video I ever rented, thinking I was renting Ernest Goes to Camp, but it was just a collection of his commercials.
That was a real video?
Oh yeah.
Fuck, dude. I would have been so pissed off.
What?
Those were like $6 rentals back in the day, right? Like 80s money.
Super expensive. You had to like have it back like the next morning. It wasn't
next
even like the next
morning.
day. It was like morning.
Yeah. You had to have like a card, and they had to like every time you rented something, they checked it against your card, so they charge you like $100 if you didn't bring it back. Yeah.
My mom like tried to complain. They were like, he should read. And she's like, he's 5.
It's why you're so well versed in the Cerritos Auto Group, right?
Yeah,
like 15 of those commercials are Cerritos Auto Group commercials. Yeah.
Every time my son wants to go to the fucking Olive Garden, I have to drive through the Cerritos Auto Square, and I'm like, there it is. There's Ernest. These are Ernest old stomping grounds.
They wouldn't play those commercials in San Diego because who cares, right? But when I go to my cousin's house, I'd get all excited when an Ernest commercial would come on because it was like I'd get like a show in between Oprah. Yeah. I could pay attention, and then Oprah.
No. I mean, we really did appreciate those commercials. I was very mad it wasn't Ernest Goes to Camp, which I think was just out in the theater at the time too. So I don't know what I was really hoping for, but fuck, those commercials were good for then.
That's what I do for holidays now. Is I just put on those YouTube channels where it's just all 80s commercials for the holiday. I just leave the commercials on. I don't play the specials anymore because I have more fond memories of those commercials than I do any of the Christmas specials. I know they played a lot of commercials when we were kids, man. Like, those shows were like maybe 20 minutes and then 10 minutes of commercials. So,
well, that's how I feel. Like whenever I have that feeling, like, man, I really want, like, I miss Return of the Jedi Luke, the action figure. And I'm like, I should go on eBay right now and buy one, get the fucking snap cloak with the blue lightsaber, fucking do it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch the commercial instead. I watched the commercial and I'm like, that I feel good now. I feel like it's all there. I don't need to go and buy anything.
My only childhood story I'll ever tell about a Star Wars toy, but I got that Jedi Luke before the movie came out, like however that worked out, and it was my everything. I was like, this is so cool. And my mom told me to leave my toys at home. Don't take them to the fucking store when we go to the grocery store, the Safeway. And for some reason, I brought it with me, and I lost them in the fruit aisle. And I came out there, I couldn't find my figure, and she's like, well, that's what you get. No more fucking toys for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. But for the next 30 years until that Safeway closed, I'd go in there and check that fucking aisle, just hoping maybe there's a chance. As a grown adult, I came back from the military. I go to that Safeway. My buddy got a job at that Safeway, and I told him, if you ever come across a black Jedi Luke fucking action figure, that's just mine, buddy. Like,
yeah. God, as a kid, I just remembered one day my grandpa stopped by, walked in the house, had a pick and save bag, and he pulls it out. He gives me the Return of the Jedi Luke. Says, bye, JC. I'm like, bye, Grandpa. And then leaves, and I'm like, cool. And it was great. But then
Pick and Save was great though, because you actually could find real good licensed stuff that didn't sell in there versus like sometimes, like when you go to these dollar stores, it's like you get like a Star Wars sticker or some bullshit fucking thing they'd make for generic $1. But Pick and Save took all the overstock from actual stores and threw them in there. So I got like a Luke's Land Speeder in 1987 for like $5 because it was just in some overstock shelf, you know, no one
Yeah.
cared about. Yeah.
Yeah, no. That's my grandpa never really took me to buy like new toys or whatever. He would always get them for me in the from Pick and Save. He's like, I'm not spending full price. But one day I did go to Gemco. I buy Yoda. All the kids in the neighborhood, they're all older than me. I still to this day don't know if I got ripped off or if it was lost. But you know how there's like we had these planters in front of all of the apartments that we lived in, and you could like, you know, plant your little flowers in there if you wanted to, but nobody did. So they were just bricks with mounds of dirt on the inside, and we just all played with toys inside of it, right? And
Right.
so I get Yoda. Everybody's like, he has Yoda. And so one kid gets the hose and he fills the planter up with
Like
water,
Dagobah.
like Dagobah. And we have Yoda, and then Yoda's gone. Never
Oh
saw Yoda again.
no. Someone swiped him or he fell into the dirt.
He fell in there and then just got lost in there. And but same thing for like years after that. I would like I get like every night I get like a spoon. I go out there and start like fucking like digging in the plant, like where you at, Yoda? Trying to like archaeological.
That's why when I first
Yoda.
saw that's why when I first saw Stand By Me as a kid and he's digging under his house for that fucking bottle of quarters or whatever and he can't find it, I'm like, that's my Luke figure. So,
Yeah.
so
That was my Yoda.
Meanwhile, some other kid on a podcast right now who's 40 is like, man, and one time I went to Safeway, I found the best loot.
I found him in a half-eaten apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in the apple section because you know what it was when I went to kindergarten, my uncle took me there and he made me find they had one. He wanted me to find an apple with a leaf on it to take to the teacher. And somehow we found an apple with a leaf on it, which is impossible now, but you could still do that in 1982.
Yeah.
They could still do that. And I brought it to kindergarten and I looked at my teacher and I looked at the teacher's aide and the teacher's aide was fucking hot. And I was like, this is for you. Yeah, I mean, she had the white bleach blonde buffet hair. She had the 60s like bra. I mean,
like she was the one dude's wife from the toy.
if Kelly Bundy had grown up to look like Peg Bundy, this is what she would look like.
Yeah, Lonnie Anderson.
Yeah, like Lonnie Anderson. Thank you, like Lonnie Anderson, like very much. And I just walked in there, I looked at the teacher, and I looked at her, and I'm like, "This is for you." You know? Yeah, she's like, "Okay, thank you." Yeah,
I
love
was-
kindergarten.
There was a lesson in that loss. So that's all I'm gonna say. You know,
Yeah.
there was a lesson there.
It's a weird show, guys. Why don't you just talk about Star Wars?
I like tits too. Anyways, Bobby Perez says, "Do you think there's a chance we might see Omega? I'm scared for that casting. You know,
Grown up.
Yeah,
Grown up,
I don't.
yeah.
I don't think we'll see Omega in season 1 of the Mandalorian. I mean, of Book of Boba. Could she be mentioned? I think if she's mentioned, it'll be a big hint about what the overall plans are for her. But I don't think.
Yeah,
so.
like if Lisa Bonet shows up with the cool crop top, like I'm not gonna turn that down. You know, like
no, and even what was the she wouldn't be because she's white. But you know the woman from the Terminator reboot or that last Terminator movie.
Khaleesi,
No, the
Emilia
one.
Clarke.
No, the
Oh yeah. The blonde.
She has blonde hair
yeah.
like her.
Yeah,
Like,
Mackenzie something.
Yeah, if they got somebody that like had like her vibe, like a Maori woman like with her vibe, and then like dyed the hair blonde, I can see that totally working.
There's so many probably badass fucking actors and actresses out there in fucking New Zealand that can do it easily.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. Yeah, I mean, Taika knows who to. I mean, there's so many good people. I just ashamed that we don't get more.
I can know all the Maoris. No, I'm kidding.
I know I'm being racist when I say that. I'm just trying to say like.
No, listen,
Like, unfortunately,
he's a guy who
I'd
likes
like to
kids.
think casting directors go down there and make friendships, but they tend to talk to people they already fucking know because LA is stupid like that. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Whereas the-
But
which-
I'm
which
certain
user
there's
has
a
the
great.
best coat?
Like, if I were fans, I mean, if you're really thinking, like, if they announced one day we're going to announce Omega will be in live action, good chance you could look at whatever's going on in theater right now, if there's a theater scene in New Zealand, to see, because that tends to be where they look. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
for that kind of talent. But
Remember, I remember they cast a Maori actor from Well Rider to be the Queen of Naboo after Natalie Portman, and and she's in the funeral sequence and stuff, and there was another queen, and then there was the girl from Well Rider in Revenge of the Sith, and I remember she got pregnant and had a child, and like everyone acted like it was like the biggest thing ever. Like, what? So she had a kid, so what? But I wonder if she still acts. Not that she would do it, but I wonder.
It's been my argument my whole life. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, but I wonder if we could see her returning to Star Wars at some point to play like a former queen of Naboo during the Rebellion era, you know, and stuff like that, because she was a good actor. At least Well Rider was a great movie.
She's like the FDR of Naboo. They never got rid of her. Just stayed.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure if they ever dealt with her character in canon, because they do go back to. I think her character may have been in that Leia comic where Leia goes back to Naboo, when they very first launched the Star Wars Marvel comics again. But I can't remember if they killed her off or anything like that, or if I'm just misremembering entirely. But yeah, well,
would have been nice to see Naboo in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
Sam.
Yeah. I think I just don't think that they had the time to do what they want. Like that shot is brilliant, where they all show up together. But God, it would have been way more powerful if we saw all of the forces of Naboo and a bunch of all the cloud cars, and you know what I mean, like Ewoks in a fucking commandeered starship with fucking eye patches, one smoking a cigar, one has a fucking giant knife like he's ready just to behead somebody, and one's on the gun. Just shit like that. Like tons of that.
Dun, 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 dun. Right.
Fuck the Bad Batch. We want the E Batch. But
they've made that. That video exists.
The E Batch?
The E Batch or whatever. Yeah, you can find that one. Yeah.
As it should.
The theme song, I thought that worked with Star Wars better than I ever thought it would, is the theme. There's one who recut a Star Wars A New Hope opening to the theme to Dallas.
Oh, wonder.
No, they cut it to the theme to Dallas, and it actually works really, really. Like they could time the turbo lasers on the Death Star to the beat of the Dallas.
Yeah,
and it works so well. Like
who shot Greedo? Yeah.
I didn't realize how epic the Dallas theme was.
Yeah.
We're still asking who shot Greedo, motherfucker. Why do you keep bringing that up? God damn it. I thought I made it very clear in that 1 second frame in which it goes, you know. You should just add shaky cam to that scene. It's the only shaky cam in Star Wars. Like
me and my best friend Ryan in 5th grade, man, we used to watch A New Hope or Star Wars back then, and we would look at it and we would be like, is he shooting him from under the table? Where's Han even shooting him from? Like it was always so poorly done. And that's why like the whole thing, I'm just like, who cares? But hey, Mr. Thrawn Talk, Mr. Jesse says, what's up? Because he loved the Super Bowl that year. He never forgot it. He watched his Christmas is putting on the Super Bowl of that year, all the Super Bowl commercials from 2002.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. The frogs. Remember the frogs? Those stupid frogs.
I remember the frogs. Well, did I tell you about the dumbest Star Wars shirt I was ever forced to make?
Was it gay frogs?
It's the Was Up frogs, bro. So this is 2013, right? And they're trying to figure out a way to save Star Wars. 2014, 13, somewhere around there. And this fucking sales rep, this douchebag who wears Under Armour to work, you know, one of those guys, literally. And he goes, hey, you know what's 90s? Was Up.
Yeah.
But and I'm like, fuck. I was literally stuck in the Office bit where they start doing Was Up with these fucking old dudes. And they're like, we should do that with Star Wars. And I was the art director. I'm like, please don't do this. Like, they're like, not only are we doing this, you got to do it. You know why? Why it doesn't? And so I had to. Sometimes as an artist, man, when you get a real shitty fucking idea, you put poor effort into it, so it doesn't work. But they know, right? they know what you can do. So I had to put the most effort into one of these box shirts that was each one of the characters like Jabba. Like, you know, I took that when she choked him, I put the tongue. Like I tried. If any Star Wars Was Up shirt was gonna fucking sell, it would. I got Jar Jar. You know, like I tried to get all the Was Ups, and luckily, fucking Lucasfilm was like,
No,
we're not doing that. But
yeah, we don't want to reference beer commercials in our.
it was 2 days of my life.
I would have done. You know when R2 gets shocked and then he falls down. I would have taken like the Marvel Comics one and then had like the electricity where it used to go. Where the
Yeah,
bubble would
I
say
could
it.
see that.
That's where I would have done it. That was my idea.
It's a small box though, man. Like you got to be very iconic. Like
Yeah.
Little droid pieces don't print as well. Like it's tough.
My favorite Star Wars shirt I ever had was Wicket standing on his tippy toes looking inside R2-D2's little hole.
I had a Wicket. I had a Wicket on it. With that, like, look, I tried to make it work.
Right. Yeah.
Turns out most of the stupid shit from Return of the Jedi works for a dumb shirt like that. Like, just saying.
Yeah.
You know. Now, a real fan like myself would have wanted to put a Bomar monk on there, but do you think they'd fucking know what that is? Like, the brain in the jar. They wouldn't do it. Yeah. I put Han and Carbonite.
I'm gonna throw it out there. When Boba Fett makes some of those murder faces, those are some was up faces. And when he's making those murder faces, you can definitely screen cap one of those into one. What's up? You can do it.
You think you? Now, not to pick on him, but you think he was studying like Popeye when he did, like, you know? Because he's very Popeye-ish. Yeah,
put the little pipe in.
You know.
Yeah. You know what? Fuck this Rock being the Jungle Cruise bullshit. Let's do fucking Tamara Morrison as Popeye.
Yeah. Live action Popeye.
I'd watch that.
And he's just like murdering Pluto's fucking opponents. You didn't pay me on Tuesdays.
Get that. Remember the girl from Spider-Man that was supposed to be ugly, but she's a comedian. She's got kind of hot. Like the girl who like lives next door to.
Oh yeah, the weird Russian family.
Yeah. Get
I
her.
don't know what that was all about.
Olive oil. She'd be a good olive oil.
I thought the blonde actress from Daredevil. What's her name? The series, the Daredevil series.
Yeah, I don't remember it now.
Looked a lot like she has like a Shelley Duvall-ish look to her. I was like, yeah, Shelley
Duvall. She's crazy now. It's fucking bad shit.
Yes,
crazy now.
It's very sad. She needs proper help. But yes,
she was. I saw this interview with her talking about how she was like, Robin Williams isn't dead. He has transformed. He has morphed into a new ball of energy or something like that. And I was like,
so sad.
I was like trying to I was like, is there some kind of angle for this where, you know, she's speaking like, you know, like, yeah, we all die, but we're all energy, bro. No, totally not. No, she doesn't.
Yeah.
She was very, very on point. So let's put her in Star Wars. Let's make the shit fun.
Mental health is a human right, but yeah, I know, right? Like it's tough.
Can you imagine Dave Filoni's like, hey, you can't be saying like what you're saying, and she's like, yeah, Darth Plagueis is back because we're all energy. She's just like listen between it, you can hear like little bits.
We're all solar babies.
Robin
Williams all connected. Yeah.
Was the Pan Man. The pan.
Yeah.
Man. Like it's
Pan
that.
Man.
Wait, what?
Pan.
Rosario Dawson's like, no one's gonna be thinking I'm a media plan after this shit.
I play Shill Skywalker.
Yeah, right.
I'm the sibling that sold out. like someone else in the galaxy is named Shill. And Skywalker got no relation, but they're like, "Oh, I'm selling my shit on mugs now." The minute fucking Luke took off,
I have a new name. My new name is Shilly Duvall.
Oh no, don't!
Yeah,
You're not helping your reputation.
I'm like Duvall, come on, that's great.
Yeah, Nah, I
Whatever-
gotta
whatever-
step away from. I gotta step away from that one. I got a Homer Simpson in the bushes on that joke.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna live and die by it now though.
I do think one of the greatest inventions in any film ever is the merch gun in Lego Batman, where he's just hitting all the kids with Batman merch. Like, it's so good.
Yeah. It's like a t-shirt cannon for children almost or some shit.
Yeah, he just boosh hits a merch. Like, how that didn't end up in a Spaceballs, right? Like that. Such a great idea.
Yeah, well, what happened with that Spaceballs like cartoon and stuff? Like I thought that was going to be.
He didn't have the rights. That's a different production company. That's
Okay.
not Mel Brooks. That's a different thing altogether. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a few minutes of it and I was out. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like it's
It's kind of like how Rob Liefeld doesn't own Youngblood. Some other dude does.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah. So I guess it turned out that it was funny because I was doing little Youngblood like fan art at the time, and I had to stop when I found out. But it turns out, like, when his company Awesome Entertainment or Maximum Press, one of those fucking things, was going through some financial dissolvement in the early 2000s, he had some investors, and so to pay him out, he just gave them IP, and he gave Youngblood to one of the other investors to kind of make clean. And so anytime Youngblood came out after that, they did it with his like cooperation in terms of he'd do covers and promotion, right? But that guy sold Youngblood to another dude, and that guy is a righteous piece of shit. So really bad, like not paying people, it's a whole fucking problem.
Yeah,
so
it's just a disaster.
and so he has to go and tell everyone, I don't own, the thing that, it is sad, like the thing that kind of starts the whole company about creator rights. The tragic tale of that story, you don't own the thing. But
Yeah.
so here's hoping one day the dude gets the rights back to that shit, because, a lot of those 90s comics, they just don't work without the original creator. Like Spawn, Jim Lee's Spawn don't work, like it's like intrinsically tied. They're not characters that I think will exist outside of the creator's death, kind of thing. Like it would take a lot for that to happen,
Right.
because they were so tied to creators' rights. Like the Max as a Disney property doesn't work without Sam Keith. Like it's so different. So my hope is that someone realizes that at some point and just goes, fuck it, you can have it or whatever, like
Yeah.
it's a worthless property otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember a lot about the 90s comics now. I just remember buying a couple of Star Wars ones and being like, well, I'm done.
Dark Horse didn't make it easy on people, man. They, like they had some real winners, but most of them were just clunky, no different than what we're getting now. I don't see any difference in terms of just creativity or, it's just like part of that might just be the licensing thing, right? Getting stuff across.
I feel like you're not wrong. I feel like you're right. I feel like the only thing that we get now is that there may be something in there that's like that links into the bigger picture, but I feel like it still has the same creative shackles upon it that don't really let it get very far. It's like we might get a reference and it doesn't really
Michael
matter.
Freeman brings up Crimson Empire was cool. Yeah, there are pockets of cool, but there's a bunch of nonsense in there. Like there was a Boba Fett series. It's pointless. Like it's boring.
I read that. I remember reading that and thinking, it didn't really. Hey James, how's it going, dude? He says, I think the most top talent doesn't want to touch Star Wars.
Let me tell you some top talent that not only wants Star Wars, the fucking genius went and drew 100 covers, right? Drawn and colored of Jawa Adventures. Otis Frampton is an artist who's sort of, been loosely synonymous with Star Wars for the longest time. I met him on the Force.net boards in 2001. Good dude, really good guy. And he tried his hardest to get this through the viral machine of the internet, and he did like 100. It's very Scotty Youngish, cartoonish Jawa book, like these Jawa, like Jawa's Christmas and Jawa Adventures in the Desert. And I would read this every fucking month. Like it's so brilliantly drawn. I'm like, just let the guy make the Jawa Adventures book. Like there should be this kind of funner stuff, that like I know IDW and them, they do like the Star Wars Adventures books, but they're so still serious, Like I think you need a humorous Star Wars book. You need something that's not so serious, because in the humor comes forth like the fun. And these books are not generally very fun, man. A lot of action, a lot of drama, and their jokes are usually like one-liners from the movies that we've heard. Like, I want some fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard a while ago that there was a pitch to do the Force. This is like 2015 now. There was a pitch to do the Force Awakens comics and to make it look just like the old Marvel comics. That was going to be an aside that would have been done in that style exactly, and would have even potentially have been issue 108. Marvel original and stuff like that. Yeah, and I was like, clever. Oh, I really wanted that. I really would have enjoyed some one-offs like that where they did things in the old art style, and as just a little thing here and there that would have been fun. But as we know, that didn't happen, and it took a long time for them to get adaptations out of those and stuff too. So yeah, I mean, we'll
I just think all those monsters, the cantina, to me they're more funner when they're cartoons, not in the movie, in drawings. In a movie, I want them to look like the movie, or like somewhere between Lando's stuff look great. The Solo movie, the Lando scene, where love all that stuff.
Yeah,
but in drawing that, I don't want that. When it comes to art, I just like something more. God, there was a comic strip on the internet that was Star Wars-ish. I gotta dig it out. It had a weird name, but it was very like a bulky Luke Skywalker kind of figure, but it was very Bill Watterson-esque drawn. It was like blasters of something. It had some weird fucking name, but like something that is not a literal translation of the films onto paper, because I just feel like unless you're doing a big story that warrants it, month after month after month, it tends to feel like a generic look. Does that make any sense? Like you start to feel like, oh, this again, oh, this again, oh, that again. So they all homogenize into one thing that I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like the Vader series, to me, if you're going to do a Vader series, it should probably look like Mike Mignola's Hellboy.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean? Like it would have a different tone and a look and more gothic and dark, but instead it's like Vader action.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know, man. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the whole era ends up washing out when all is said and done. Like what pillars of significance are there and what aren't. You know what I mean? Somebody asked a question. James said, "Rob, what do you think of Chris Gossett's work on Tales of the Jedi?" Do you know that one?
My hard pressed. I'm gonna have to look it up. I don't remember.
Yeah.
The Tales of the Jedi series. So, yeah, I came to Tales of the Jedi. Dark Horse put a preview of it in black and white in the 1992 Comic-Con souvenir bag. You got like a Comic-Con book, and it had like a preview of that story. Love the Dave Dorman covers. The interiors were hard for me to read in black and white. Eventually, I saw them in color, and I didn't think the coloring did much justice. But the art is still cool. Like I would kind of have like a Travis Charest kind of look, a little bit more like a Jim Lee-ish, kind of like
that was how me and Randy became friends, who I used to that's podcasting with. Is he worked at a comic book shop, and they did a one-off issue that wasn't part of the main. It was a preview. It may even have been in one of those previews magazine like things that was like included or something. It was something weird. It was like a sample, and I think it might have had another comic book with it even on the other side. Like you read like one side this way and you flipped it over and read the other one to get the other comic. It was something weird like that.
Yeah.
But he brought it to me at school. He's like, I know you like Star Wars. And I was like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, the coloring I thought was off. Like even I'm not against the 4 or 8 color process, right? The older look. I just think the design of some of the colors was really weird. As opposed to when you read Hellboy, it feels very cohesive in its color palettes, right? So that work the coloring wasn't the best. The covers were amazing. The illustrations, Goss's work was great. The coloring, you know, it's a shame we didn't get like action figures at the time too. You know, like the Before the Shadows of the Empire, Tales of the Jedi. You know, the problem with Tales of the Jedi though was it was Tales of some Jedi we never met. Like you got to sprinkle in something we're familiar with for the average fan to jump on board. You know, like.
Yeah.
You know, like if there was a mention there, like something, it was so Bravehearty, you know. I think if the design of that series was more samurai-ish rather than the Braveheart thing, then, you know. Yeah. But it was cool, man. I think my favorite serious artist, I got to get his name right because I always screw it, was the artist who drew the first half of Heir to the Empire, the comic. I want to say Valentini or something like that. What's his name? Here we go.
Yeah, that comic book for me, it proves why Heir to the Empire is a good book, and it does. I don't think it translated to comic books very well.
Vatine Olivier, right? Like he's a brilliant illustrator. I have a lot of his stuff from Italy, like his other books, like oversized. And I got that Heir to the Empire when I was in Germany. They have like oversized copies of it.
Yeah, the art is beautiful. The art, like
fantastic.
Yeah.
And they didn't let him finish it for whatever reason. Like Stuart Immonen or Terry Dodson, one of those, I get him confused, came in and finished it. I didn't care for it, but his design, his unique, he had a really great way of doing basic perspective that was just impactful and strong. Although I love the cover. I think the cover's brilliant. Luke has like a 12-foot long lightsaber, if I remember right. like the lightsaber starts at the bottom of the cover and it goes like fucking all 10 inches across the cover. like I get it, but you could just wow. Luke.
So
the team.
Mark Hamilton says the Dark Horse KOTOR series was some of the best Star Wars comics ever. Loves Zane Carrick, Jarrell, and those MoMA bros. Hammerheads were amazing. So, yeah. Well, anyways, I think we're gonna call this one a show today because we've covered all of the news. We're at an hour and a half.
And now we're just old guys complaining how shit was better when it was older.
Yeah.
Look, I just want to know. I'm looking forward. If you want to know what new comic I'm looking forward to, Ray Anthony Height is illustrating some Afra issues. You know, he's a little bit of an art buddy of mine, right? We're friends. And so I love his stuff. I'm looking forward to reading it. I pray to God that the writer writes something worthy of the premise of that character. But I know Ray will bring some fun art to the book because he's dope.
Read Space Bastards. That's a good comic book.
It's not about spaceships.
Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show.
It's not about spaceships.
All right, we did it.